This is the topmost, very expensive. And then you have come down to the lowest.
Alex Couture knows his wines.
For somebody to have.
But having spent over 2 decades servicing Africa's largest market, makes this information come as no surprise.
So you have Springfield, you have the Work of Time, you have Life from Stone, Wholeberry, Wild East Chardonnay. So
Alex is one of Nigeria's biggest wine and spirits distributors and understands his clientele's nuances intrinsically.
Nigerians are very brand conscious and they go for the best. So we have brands like Moët & Chandon and Veuve Clicquot and Dom Perignon, which I have been part of it. So it continues to stay, and they have done a great job in this country to continue to build that aspiration from the consumer and building that bond between the brand and the consumer. So some brands have had a definitive edge in this market, and once you establish a particular kind of brand, it will remain. It becomes their DNA to be part of it, and that helps entrepreneurs like us to bring in wines with different kinds of taste, barreled, oak barreled, and showcasing them. And we can also see the culinary differences that are taking place at the same time, and to adapt to these wines. And these new restaurants and the high-end restaurants are catering to it, and Nigerians are enjoying it. Just immediately after COVID, there's a real spike, and that should have continued normally, but then there's been some changes in the Nigerian economy. That has impacted the purchasing power, but the desire to drink more and to understand is growing, definitely. I guess this is just a temporary phase which we are going through. Once we get over it, we will really have a good wine market, and coming from all parts of the world.
Alex also represents some of the major grape-specific glassware companies.
So we have a Cabernet Sauvignon glassware for a Cabernet Sauvignon wine. So we're able to explore the potentiality of that wine in that glass. It's not cosmetic, it's real. It does the functionality of the delivery of the wine into the right palate in your mouth, which brings the wine to another level. So we have Sauvignon Blanc glass, we have a Pinot Noir glass, and it's so beautiful. Once you taste that, you can never drink from a normal glass.
Wine Club founder Fulakemi Ali Balogun couldn't agree more as she gets set to host a sensory wine tasting evening in Lagos. Unlike her other events, this one will focus less on the wine and more on the glassware.
This is happening close to Valentine's, but it's not necessarily a Valentine's. Yeah, it's not necessarily a Valentine's tasting. This is something that we do quite regularly. I developed a taste for wine while I was at university, and I became known amongst my friends as the friend who always ordered wine. So randomly, a friend said to me one day, like, why don't you start a wine club? And at this point, I didn't even know what a wine club was, but I knew it sounded like something I wanted to do. So I did my research, and I realized that there was an opportunity to promote a wine culture in Nigeria, to create some sort of community, safe space for wine lovers to come and not just drink wine, but do a bit more of a deep dive into what wine is all about, what it entails, how do we, get people learning and get people engaged and interacting whilst drinking wine, obviously.
In collaboration with glassware maker Riedel and Miller Nigeria, guests will be served different wines and be expected to guess which glassware accentuates the respective wines best.
Each wine has a specific quality or property or characteristic that the winemaker wants you to enjoy the most, and that's the reason why the glasses are made the way they are. So from the shape, from the size of the bowl to the shape of the bowl, all of it is to direct the wine to the right point on your tongue that allows you to enjoy the wine. Hello. Okay, so I wanted to introduce you to Abisola Owolawi.
Very nice to meet you. What's your name, please? Mustafa. Mustafa, nice to meet you.
Mustafa is one of Fulakemi's collaborators. But I'm curious about an appliances company's fit at an event of this nature.
Most people feel they can drink any wine out of any vessel, that it doesn't really make any difference. But here we demonstrate to them that it makes a lot of difference, how you drink the wine and which vessel you're using. Retail are glass makers, right? And as you can imagine, most of the client base are aristocrats. They will never wash the glasses by hand. So they wash in dishwashers and they were always breaking. So they had approached Miele, that it's technological, mechanical company that makes dishwashers, to make dishwashers that will never break the glasses. So that was how they approached us. So we made them dishwashers with stem holders, so that the mechanical action in the dishwasher will not break the glasses. So that's how it came about. Then when we found more about the company and the philosophy, right, we decided to collaborate and we give the pleasure to our customers to be able to enjoy their drinks using the Riedel glasses. And it's gone really, really well so far.
Nigerians love champagne. I think it's well known. We're one of the biggest consumers of champagne in the world, but there is a growing taste for red wines as well. There's also a peculiar taste for sweet wines in Nigeria. A lot of people love sweet wines, but you also have a particular clientele that enjoys dry wines as well. So if there's a hierarchy of sorts, I would say champagne comes first, red wines, and then white wines. And just there's a sweet spot for sweet wines in the market.
Nigerian wine importers spent a total of $485 million on fortified, sparkling and still wines in 2023. This figure is projected to spike to $557 million this year, with a consumption volume projection of 44 million litres by 2027. Spirits are also in high demand, with imported spirits accounting for $500 million of the total value consumed between 2019 and 2020. For United States, some European countries and South Africa were the leading suppliers to the Nigerian market despite the restriction in 2020. Rising costs of sea freight owing to inflation and devaluation, however, have an impact on importation budgets, and the need for backward integration appears a likely solution.
We are looking at bringing wine in steel vats, and which will reduce the dependency on foreign exchange, and also encouraging more employment through bottling. Source the glass. We have some glass industry that can give us the glass, and we can do bottling in this region, and then whereby the products becomes much cheaper. The value chain becomes much more efficient, and more people down on the triangle now can reach out and enjoy wines.
Obviously, we are seeing a lot more sophistication in the South African wine market, and we're seeing a lot more actually luxury wines. But aside from that, there are a lot of approachable, sort of easy drinking and affordable South African wines on the Nigerian market, which makes it favorable to literally anyone who walks into a shop can get a South African wine for an affordable price.
They call it the New World wines. And it's easy on the palate of Nigerians. So it's kind of an introduction into wine for many people. And then once you get introduced into that palate, then they explore into more mature wines and more complex wines, which South Africans have done it. And so it's like opening the door into a house and then getting deeper into it and being complex about it. So that's what they have done very successfully.
So, what makes one of the world's biggest wine producers so market intuitive? That was my next question. And in order to answer this authentically, it was time for a trip to South Africa. Arriving at the mother city, Cape Town, on South Africa's southwest coast is always a sight to behold. Iconic mountain ranges, thrilling landscapes, ocean vistas and a pulsing lifestyle makes this city the adventure capital of the country. But Cape Town isn't my destination. About 50 kilometers from the city is the country's most famous wine-producing region, Stellenbosch, home to a vibrant art scene and the most idyllic countryside views and wine farms. It is also home to one of South Africa's biggest wine producers and celebrated entrepreneurs, Marcus Raman, who owns one of the country's finest wine estates and wine brand.
Even though I looked at various regions in the world, I went to Australia, did a detailed market research and farm research in Australia, into Italy, into France. Yeah? But final choice was South Africa, Stellenbosch, due to family reasons, heritage. I know the area, and Stellenbosch is one of the best wine growing regions in South Africa by far. And with that, I could actually combine my interest of having a business with my passion. And my passion lies with good quality food, good quality wine. So I did manage the change from one side of the table, being on the drinking side of the table, to the making side of the table, meaning I now make the wine and drink the wine.
Soil type, microclimate, sunlight exposure, and weather patterns all play an integral role in the quality of wine produced across growing regions globally. And for Marcus, full consideration of this has to be taken.
If I now look at what allows us to be different, what allows us to approach the market internationally, number one, Asara is producing wine in the New World, but actually with a focus on Old World style of winemaking. So we are actually taking the old traditional winemaking methods from the Old World into the New World. And that is what I found very interesting, that is what the international market appreciates, because they appreciate French wine. They appreciate the finesse of French red wines, French white wines. And now, Marcus Raman or Asara, we come from the New World, actually showing them that South Africa can also produce the same quality, sometimes even better, because we interpret it differently.
But different markets gravitate towards different tastes.
Every single market is different. What I can market successfully, hypothetically saying, in Tanzania doesn't work in Kenya, even though they're neighbors. Yeah? The wine which I sell into Nigeria, for example, is not the same wine requested by clients in Zimbabwe. South Africa is known for Pinot Noir, for Chenin Blancs, for Sauvignon Blancs, and Stellenbosch actually is a red wine domain. So Cabernet Merlot, Cabernet Franc, Petit Verdot, driven terroir, which my farm is planted 65 to 70% red wine, 30% white wine. So that determines, yes, it might take longer. White wines gets sold within the year of production, and red wines, subject to what you want to achieve, 2 years, 3 years, up to 5 years old before you actually release it. And so I look at that, what my soil allows me to produce, and that I try to push into the market.
So, of course, we've had events over the last few years, COVID being one of them, unfortunately, which caused many industries a lot of setback, hospitality and service being one of them. In what ways have this had effects on global demand for wines?
Well, honestly speaking, during COVID, yes, it was very difficult for everybody. Yeah, all over the world, specifically South Africa, because we also had a ban on selling alcohol or even receiving guests in the hotel. knock-on effect was I lost clients during COVID, but now there are others coming into the market. We're approaching other clients. So I actually look quite positively into the future from a hospitality point of view, but also from a wine point of view, that going forward, everything has changed, but there's always opportunities worldwide. We just need to adjust, yeah, and try to make the best out of it, to make the wines available to the people if and wherever they want it. And that is what I'm trying to do.
This property boasts a wine estate, a functioning farm, wine cellar, 5-star hotel, 3 restaurants and a bakery. But winemaking is at the heart of its pulse, and it was imperative that I got a good sense of this process. Due to climate change, wines with low intervention, organic and biodynamic will take center stage due to the growing interest of new consumers whose pillars are based on the betterment of ecology and health. At the barrel maturation cellar where the wine is stored, it is important to maintain a constant temperature of 16 to 18 degrees. This part of the cellar allows the wine to mature and ripen.
The better the wood and the way you use the wood, how long you put the wine in the barrel, from white wine or red wine, determines how much wood extraction you get. We want to use wood as a structural bone, as a structural element for the wine, to uplift the wine, to support the fruit, but do not overpower it.
Wow, how interesting. Now, Miguel, what factors play a role in the timing and decision of when to harvest? What do you look out for in that process?
If there's one thing in winemaking that is, for me, the most important, it's pH. The lower the pH, the better for us winemakers. We strive to get the pH as low as possible. Then also TA, total acidity. So we look at the 3. pH is the acidity or the alkalinity or acidity of the juice. That's what it refers to. So based on that, I'll take a decision. You also have to go into the vineyard and physically taste it. It's important. There's a term we use, physiological ripeness. So we break open the grapes. We look at the pips on the inside. So usually when it's close to harvest, the pips will start turning brown, and then obviously you taste the grapes as well. So there's certain, sometimes we will make a call, rather harvest earlier, because the flavor is there at the moment, rather than at the 22 or a later belling when the flavor is not there anymore. So it's a fine decision. You have to get the timing right.
The acidity component helps the wine develop fuller flavors and notes, while also aiding its aging potential. Higher acidity is preferred for white wines at a pH level between 3 and 3.3 in Stellenbosch, while red wine's pH level isn't as critical and is kept below 3.6 with an acidity of 4.5 and 6 grams per litre. Tartaric acid is then added to reds during the winemaking process.
What we got here, I see a Petit Verdot. I want to learn all about this.
Yes, so this is our 2022 Petit Verdot. It's been in here for quite some time, almost 12 months. It needs to go about another 4 to 6 months. So we will taste the wine every month from now on, and then decide when the perfect time is to take it out. So let's taste some wine.
Yes, please. It smells great already.
There's a lovely aroma coming out of this barrel.
Beautiful aroma.
The first thing you want to do is you want to have a look at the color of the wine. So you can see this is a deep red color. So in South Africa, we have no problems getting color in the wines. So we have enough sunlight here, and that gives us nice deep, dark colored red wines. Cheers.
Pronounced flavors, but not overpowering. That's what I'm getting.
The wine is nicely in balance. The oaking is not dominating the wine. The fruit, there's still fruit left in the wine. That's the style we're looking to create.
From still wines to some bubbly, there is a turnkey offering at this winery.
I see that your champagnes are termed ACC. Why not MCC?
Oh, fortunately or unfortunately, legislation has changed in South Africa, that it used to be called Méthode Cap Classique from the French market, and somehow we are not allowed to call it that anymore. So you're only allowed to call it Cap Classique, as you can see basically on the front label here. And with Asara it's very easy. I just call it the ACC, which is the Asara Cap Classique. And we produce it very traditionally, the Champagne way, the French traditional. We make it in the bottle, we let it mature in the bottle on the lees as a base wine for about 18 months. So it's a labor-intensive job, but that is why you get a very nice result out of it.
The result is a full-bodied 100% bubbly, which pairs well with almost any foods.
It's the perfect way to start a Sunday morning. Have a freshly baked cinnamon roll, and you finish it off with a glass of champagne.
Now, a good bubbly always precedes a nice toast. And I knew just what that should be, as I certainly wasn't leaving Stellenbosch without appreciating some great art.
So let's say cheers to James Cook, Free Fall. The piece is called Free Fall. I think it's stunning, the execution, the details. And then just look at this in conjunction with that mountain view.
Back in Lagos at the wine tasting evening, it has been yet another successful event for Folakemi and her collaborators.
It was fantastic, and I'm so impressed with the results. I think this is the most impressive set of results that we've got, and I think we're getting through to people, and people are paying attention, and it was fun, and it seems like people had fun, and I had fun educating the people as well.
We have some prospects, we have some converts, and we have some aspirational, clients. And as you can see, the mood has been kind of a feel-good mood, which is what we aim to achieve, especially during our wine tasting.
And so, from the clinking glasswares in Lagos to the fertile soils of the good old Western Cape, the relationship between a discerning consumer and a detailed producer continues to flourish. Abisola Owolawi for Horizon News.